This level 0 pro wields the demon sword and challenges a level 5 boss leader by himself. After battling fiercely for a long time, and using all his cards, Fengshe finally defeated the Knoll chieftain. Fengshe couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. After the Knoll chieftain exploded, the items scattered all around. Kuriko shouted in excitement, "Feng, you are simply my idol." Soon after, Fengshe picked up the skill book from the ground and smiled. "Kuriko, your luck is truly unbelievable. This evil whipbind skill book is quite rare. It is also a rare damage control skill for sorcerers." Kuriko is not excited but rather looks very downcast. He feels too weak and completely unable to help. He gathered his spirits and asked, "Feng, can you teach me how to become a powerful sorcerer? I don't want to always hide on the sidelines and watch the battles." Fengshe nodded. "Let's start with allocating skill points." Kuriko immediately grinned. "Isn't that very simple? Just allocate all skill points to intelligence." Fengshe angrily punched him. "The sorcerer profession is not as simple as you think." Kuriko suddenly felt confused. Shouldn't DPS professions maximize intelligence stats? Fengshe shook his head. "That big axe he wielded almost took you out earlier. Do you not remember?" Kuriko smiled awkwardly, feeling a bit embarrassed. Quickly expressed that he hadn't forgotten. Later, Fengshe explained earnestly, "Want to become a powerful sorcerer? Agility is also essential. Agility not only increases movement speed, but also allows you to cast spells faster. Furthermore, sorcerers have few survival skills, their spells are not very powerful, and most of their skills mainly involve cursing and blood consumption. It takes time to fully unleash the damage." After discussing the allocation of points for the sorcerer, Fengshe starts to distribute the spoils. "Take the bronze magic robe and put it on." He then handed the evil whipbind skill book to Kuriko. Casting time of 3 seconds. Extends 5 thorn vines to bind targets within a certain range. Causes the thorns to break. Each thorn inflicts 20 points of base damage, plus an additional 30% of magic damage. Kuriko was ecstatic at first sight. With this powerful control skill, combat proficiency can be greatly improved. Fengshe hurriedly reminded, "This skill has a 3-second chanting time. You need to anticipate and chant in advance to control the enemy." Kuriko nodded frantically, indicating that he would practice more. "And among them, there is a bronze leather and a pair of plate gloves to switch. Fengshe also can be considered upgrading from a small gun to a cannon." And Kuriko also equipped the violet blood cloak and violet blood leg armor. Spell damage instantly increased significantly. Afterwards, Fengshe and Kuriko then returned to the blacksmith's shop to turn in the quest. Master Jack, who was busy forging, nodded approvingly. "Young man, you are quite impressive. You can definitely inherit my forging techniques." At the same time, a system prompt popped up, indicating completion of the hidden quest. Forging the Path. The player learned blacksmith and became a junior blacksmith apprentice with forging talent and genius. The reward is 10 pieces of 100-fold tempered steel. Kuriko was curious. A forging genius. Seems quite formidable. Fengshe lightly expressed that this skill, after successfully forging, has a certain chance to increase 2 points of proficiency. Kuriko was immediately disappointed. "It seems like it's not very useful after all, listening to what you just said." Fengshe, on the other hand, said solemnly, "Don't underestimate the increase of 2 proficiency points. You should know that the success rate of a junior blacksmith apprentice in making a normal item is only 20%. If successful, there's only a 40% chance of gaining 1 proficiency point. Now, as long as the forging is successful, there's a chance to gain an additional 2 proficiency points. The promotion efficiency has increased several times. An ordinary player needs at least more than 10 days to become an intermediate blacksmith apprentice, and the materials must not be interrupted. The terrifying failure rate will waste a large amount of materials. With the forging talent, one can save a lot of materials. Upon hearing that they can save money, Kuriko immediately smiled with joy. In that case, this talent is indeed very powerful. Feng. When? Forge me some top-quality equipment to use. Feng Shi expressed with a hint of annoyance. Crafting equipment requires blueprints. I have only learned the skills for now. Without blueprints, I can't forge anything. He felt secretly delighted. Dead Silence Forest produces blueprints for bronze equipment. The equipment crafted from that blueprint not only has a low cost, but also has excellent attributes. Many blacksmiths in the past world made a fortune because of that blueprint. After making up his mind, Feng Shi did not linger. He turned around directly and prepared to leave. Just as he turned to leave, Master Jack's gaze fell on the jet-black long sword at his waist. Even though the jet-black long sword was full of rust spots, it couldn't escape the eyes of the blacksmith master. Master Jack hurriedly stopped Feng Shi. "Young man, please stop. You really make me look at you with new eyes. I have been forging weapons for many years. It's the first time I have seen a magic artifact. This magic artifact must have been cursed with a terrible curse. I'm afraid this curse has already started to backfire on its owner." Master Jack stopped me. Feng Shi looked slightly surprised. Master Jack's eyes were filled with strong desire. He whispered in a somewhat submissive tone, "Would you let me take a look at this sword?" Feng Shi didn't think too much. He directly handed over Abyss Dweller, the demon sword, to Master Jack. It is the lifelong pursuit of every blacksmith master. Naturally, upon seeing it, one would want to experience it firsthand. After observing for a moment, Master Jack solemnly said, "Abyss Dweller was personally crafted by the famous General Ulysses, using the fawn of the Black Dragon King as the main material. It is ranked 31st among the realm's 36 swords. However, this sword is cursed by the Black Dragon King. In addition to granting the holder amazing power, it will backfire on the holder every once in a while. If the backfire cannot be suppressed, the holder will be cursed by the Black Dragon King, causing all attributes to permanently decrease by 50%. This is a powerful sword, but the curse on it is very evil. The more you try to unleash the sword's power, the stronger the curse becomes. Eventually, it will trap the holder in an endless abyss. It's too difficult to control this sword with your strength. You are easily swallowed by the curse. The magic artifact Abyss Dweller may grant the holder amazing power, but this sword carries the curse of the Black Dragon King. The more you try to unleash the sword's power, the stronger the curse becomes. Eventually, it will trap the holder in an endless abyss." Feng Shi naturally knows all this. That's why he hesitated at first. Curiously, he asked, "Is there any way to remove the curse?" Master Jack shook his head. Master Craftsman Ulysses has slain countless terrifying beings to bestow this legendary sword with unparalleled power. The power of these vanquished beings is sealed within the sword, and without immensely strong power, it is impossible to suppress it. However, there is a way to weaken this curse. The power sealed within the sword is a curse, and to weaken it, one must have exceptionally strong luck. In the realm continent, there are certain stones that gather the good fortune of the realm. These stones are called lucky stones, and having a lucky stone can counteract this curse. Although these stones can be found across the continent, very few people are able to obtain them. If you can find this stone, I can help you weaken the curse of the sword." Feng Shi, who had anticipated this, remained indifferent. Calmly, he gestured to Kuriko to hand over the starstone from the backpack to Master Jack. Kuriko secretly complained after taking out the green stone. The name doesn't even say Lucky Stone. Master Jack was stunned in place at the sight of the dark green starstone. Master Jack, who came to his senses, suddenly praised Feng Shi, saying, "You are truly the man I recognize." Feng Shi was secretly delighted. Initially, this extremely hard to crack and worthless stone, one day suddenly renamed Lucky Stone, directly caused its value to skyrocket. It transformed from trash to a high-value currency in the realm. Feng Shi said with some anticipation, "Master Jack, can you weaken the curse now?" Master Jack then regained his usual composure and smiled, saying, "No problem. I can get it done in half an hour. Following that, Master Jack immediately took out the lucky stone, roasting it together with Abyss Dweller in the furnace. He kept hitting Abyss Dweller with a hammer in his hand. Incorporate lucky stone into it. Half an hour later, the forging was successful without any surprises. Fengshe took over Abyss Dweller. He found that there had been some changes in the introduction of Abyss Dweller. The description about backlash on the weapon had mysteriously disappeared. Master Jack gazed at the originally pitch-black Abyss Dweller. After a faint golden light emerged, he nodded in satisfaction and said, "The curse of the Black Dragon King has been temporarily suppressed." Fengshe felt a lot more at ease. At least for the time being, the backlash wouldn't be too strong. He then put away the Abyss Dweller and thanked the master before preparing to leave. He bowed respectfully to Master Jack. He turned around and left straight away. Fengshe suddenly discovered that Lonely as Snow had sent him a lot of messages. Lonely as Snow is the kind man that Fengshe previously encountered at City Hall. He wants Fengshe to lead the team to clear the Dead Silence Forest dungeon, addressing Fengshe's request for priority. After considering for a moment, and checking the equipment requirements for Swordman and Sorcerer, Fengshe agreed to go along. After the communication, Fengshe turned to Kuriko and said, "Someone has invited us to clear the Dead Silence Forest dungeon. Let's gather quickly." And Kuriko was a bit confused. "Can't the two of us handle it?" Fengshe explained. "Dead Silence Forest is a team dungeon we two can't enter. It's safer with more people. Less chance of accidents happening." When Fengshe and Kuriko arrived at the dungeon entrance of Dead Silence Forest, various teaming up shouts could be heard constantly. The entire Dead Silence Forest is packed with people. Everywhere you look, there are level 2 players. Many players are forming parties to go into the dungeon. At a glance, Fengshe spotted Lonely as Snow waving to him and excitedly shouted, "Master, you're finally here. If it wasn't for your recommendation of the monster grinding spot, I might still not have reached level 2 now. My 3 friends had to toil to reach level 2. With you leading the team this time, we will surely be able to clear this dungeon." Very quickly, Lonely as Snow arrived at the team's meeting point with Fengshe. His friends were obviously waiting a bit impatiently. They kept urging Fengshe to join the team. Captain Skynet couldn't help but ridicule Fengshe after seeing his level. "Lonely as. So this is the expert you're talking about. I thought it would be someone with 3 heads and 6 arms. Turns out it's just like this." The shield warrior beside also had his face darkened. "This weakling is only level 1. Seems like he's just here to scam equipment." Skynet sneered. Dead Silence Forest is a level 2 dungeon. Sending a level 1 rookie in there is basically asking for death. And he has the nerve to steal all the Swordman and Sorcerer's equipment. Is he taking us for fools or what? Defensive Warrior walked up to Fengshe and teased. "Level 1 boss, why are you so quiet? Even if the snail server has been online for a long time, you shouldn't still be at level 1, right?" The nearby Sorcerer also chimed in. "With your level, how dare you try to command us?" Fengshe also didn't want to embarrass Lonely as Snow. He chose to leave the team directly. He then said to Kuriko, "Kuriko, let's find more people to go to the dungeon again." Without saying a word, Kuriko also directly left the team. Lonely as Snow still wanted to try to persuade Fengshe. However, Skynet spoke up. "You now have 2 choices. Either follow us to the dungeon or leave the team with them." Lonely as Snow fell silent for a moment. He didn't think he had misjudged Fengshe. Fengshe was definitely a master. He then chose to withdraw from the group as well. He was prepared to follow Fengshe and see if his judgment was correct. Skynet watched Lonely as Snow leave and suddenly shouted, "Don't regret making this choice. When we clear Dead Silence Forest and get top-grade equipment, you will regret it." Lonely as Snow did not offer any rebuttal. He quickly caught up to Fengshe and said, "Master, please let me join you. I want to venture into Dead Silence Forest with you all. I have 2 pieces of ordinary plate equipment with 24 defense points." Fengshe nodded in agreement. Kuriko did not expect that Lonely as Snow would actually leave his original team to join them. This gesture sparked some favorable feelings towards Lonely as Snow. He patted Lonely as Snow on the shoulder, laughing heartily, and said, "Following Feng won't disappoint you. You have a good eye, kid." Fengsher suddenly said to Kuriko, "Put on the staff. Remember to activate the special effects." Kuriko immediately grinned, indicating that he understood. The halo effect of the bronze equipment. With a faint blue color. Lonely as Snow's mouth suddenly opened wide in disbelief as he looked at Kuriko. He had thought Fengsher was a rare master. I didn't expect Kuriko to be the real master. In his past life, he was the pinnacle sword king. But now, he is greatly despised when teaming up in dungeon. To enter the dungeon quickly and farm design drawings. He had to ask Kuriko to activate the equipment's special effects to lure monsters. Soon, Kuriko's voice could be heard. Skilled player leading the team. Level 3, Speed 3, come over. Skynet immediately showed a disdainful expression upon hearing this. Quite bold indeed. This person's nerve is really thick. Just then, little Gagas beside suddenly said, "Skynet leader, quickly look at that sorcerer. His equipment shining with blue light looks very powerful." Only seeing Kuriko holding the extremely rare bronze equipment, constantly shouting to recruit members. It seems that there is really some master style. Skynet saw the halo effect of the bronze equipment. His eyes almost popped out. Shield Warrior awkwardly reminded. When teaming up, that sorcerer is already at level 3. Magic little Gagas suddenly laughed and said, "Even if that sorcerer is really strong, it's impossible for them to bring along a level 1 newbie to clear the dungeon, right?" The Shield Warrior on the side chuckled and suggested an idea. "Why don't we use the mage equipment as a bargaining chip and let him join our team?" Skynet immediately nodded in agreement, indicating that this was a great idea. He then quickly contacted Kuriko. Seeing the other party reply within seconds, he immediately felt confident. When he saw Kuriko's concise rejection, Vaughn's face immediately fell. He turned around and saw Kuriko gesturing at him internationally, and his veins popped out instantly. What a self-righteous guy. Under Kuriko's enthusiastic shouting, the number of people signing up for Team Fengsher has also increased. This effect is mainly due to the equipment on Kuriko. Fengsher quickly formed a team of 4. Initially, the 4 were quite happy. There were over 10 people present, but only they were chosen. However, upon seeing the level of team leader Fengsher, they were all upset and demanded to withdraw from the team. Lonely as Snow sighed in despair. "Brother expert, it seems a bit difficult to assemble a full team." Fengsher turned around casually, indicating to take it slow, and there's no need to rush. Suddenly, Lonely as Snow realized that all the players around them had disappeared. A sudden commotion erupted not far away. Many players ran over one after another. Everyone looked extremely excited. All the players crowded together in a group. A look of infatuation covered their faces. At this moment, Kuriko widened his eyes in shock. "I can't believe I ran into this." Fengsher was speechless. He looked towards the trio that caused the disturbance. The newcomer was none other than Snow Queen Snowby, Kuriko's idol, who wore a gorgeous bronze armor that highlighted her exquisite figure perfectly. Coupled with her celestial beauty and icy demeanor, even women couldn't help but be moved upon seeing her, not to mention a group of men. Fengsher himself had to admit that Snowby was indeed the most perfect woman he had ever seen, surpassing any female celebrity. And the 2 people beside Snowby were also familiar to Fengsher. He had seen them before on various news and television programs. They are all top experts from the realm. Another stunning beauty, Luna Zhao. She has a devilishly hot figure and appearance. Every move she makes exudes a captivating allure, as well as a full dose of wild charm. Female priest Little Aurora can only be considered average, but she has a beautiful appearance and decent skills. On the ranking list of priests in the Star Moon Kingdom, Also a well-known figure among the top 100. 2 stunning beauties plus 1 great beauty. Add a beautiful scenery to the dead silence forest. Hundreds of players are gathered on both sides. I would like to get to know these 3 people. Unfortunately, the 3 beauties didn't even glance at them. Snowby walked forward silently. For these lecherous men drooling. LV.2 completely disregarded. Fengshe was also surprised. A small place like Maple Leaf Town. Actually encountering such a big shot. It's simply unimaginable. Kuriko was even more obsessed to the extreme. Completely forgot about inviting people to join the team. Fengshe didn't waste any words either. Raise your hand and give him a punch to wake him up. A bunch of players surrounded on both sides. Want to team up with 3 beauties. Little Aurora, who is more timid, seemed a bit overwhelmed by the situation. Luna Xiao stood proudly, took a deep breath, and sighed. They are all despicable men. Where are the real masters? Just then, Skynet suddenly jumped out, claiming to be a top-notch ranger. I really hope to join the team of goddesses. Luna Xiao was instantly furious. Do you dare to call yourselves experts with this group of clowns? Little Gaggas all around. Was instantly overwhelmed by Luna Xiao's imposing aura. But Luna Xiao did not give them a good face. She directly roared in anger and sent them packing. Little Aurora is somewhat helpless. People are scared away by you, making it hard to find someone to team up with. Luna Xiao arrogantly expresses disdain for this group of weaklings. Not worthy of teaming up with me. Just moments ago, Kuriko had a lovesick expression on his face. Instantly scared into breaking out in a cold sweat. Fengshe secretly complained. Luna Xiao was a famous Scarlet Flame sorceress in the previous life. The reason she has such a title is that it was built on the bodies of these male players. Once, a guild leader teased her a bit. As a result, the guild of tens of thousands of people was destroyed, and the guild leader was killed and sent back to level 0. Snowby, who was surrounded by the crowd, suddenly realized. Someone actually managed to ignore her existence. Fengshe, who was looking around for suitable teammates, suddenly turned around and found herself locking eyes with Snowby. Snowby felt a strange sensation from Fengshe, a restrained sharpness, especially from the weapon at Fengshe's waist, which made her slightly wary. Luna Xiao was puzzled as to why Snowby kept staring at the unremarkable Fengshe. Do you know him, Snow? You wouldn't want to team up with that noob who's only at level 1. Let's tackle the dungeon together. He must be trying to get our attention, since he's pretending not to see us. Let's ignore him. Quickly form a team of 3 and go into the dungeon. Snowby, however, seemed oblivious, as if she hadn't heard anything, and walked towards Fengshe's direction on her own. Luna Xiao looked at Snowby in surprise. Had to follow and walked along. Luna Xiao in front of Fengshe suddenly sarcastically said, Do you dare to go to Brush Dungeon at level 1? And Fengshe calmly stated that I dare to recruit people here. There is naturally a way to clear the dungeon. Later, he warmly said, Miss Bai, are you interested in joining our team? We are short of 3 people. Luna Xiao immediately exploded on the spot. You, a trash player, dare to talk to Snow? Snowby has a beauty like a heavenly fairy. Adding to that, she also possesses a cold and snowy temperament. Only level 1 Fengshe. Only level 1 Fengshe actually claims that she can lead them through the Dead Silence Forest dungeon. The ill-tempered Luna Xiao was about to explode. Snowby immediately stopped her and calmly analyzed. Although this Darkblade is only level 1, that sorcerer, on the other hand, has 3 pieces of bronze equipment. He must possess some skills. Take a closer look at the weapon by his waist. It seems like there is currently no such unique weapon available. Luna Xiao is a bit confused. Does such an ugly piece of equipment even deserve to be called a weapon? Snowby, on the other hand, firmly expresses that his weapon is definitely extraordinary. Luna Xiao approached Fengshe with some skepticism. Where did you, a newbie, get the dungeon guide from? There is no record of this dungeon being cleared at all. Fengshe casually said it was information from the closed beta test. Snowby obviously couldn't be fooled so easily. She pondered silently. Despite the realm having been launched for so long, she hadn't heard of any beta players leaking game strategy information. Luna Xiao also thought that Fengshe was a fraud. Facing Luna Xiao's questioning, Fengshe readily said, "I can tell her a piece of free intelligence first." The monsters in Dead Silence Forest are not considered very strong. The difficulty of this dungeon lies in players easily getting lost among various traps in the woods. Without a guide, the team will basically be unable to even find the monsters, and will end up being heavily injured by the various traps. Even if one is lucky enough to survive, they may end up choosing to commit suicide and return to town due to being unable to find a way out. The surrounding little gaggas immediately scoffed at this. The words spoken by a level 1 person are simply not credible. Fengshe was too lazy to argue with them. Directly let them go and asked just Van. Players resurrected in the dungeon. Snowby suddenly found Fengshe very interesting. Luna Xiao, on the other hand, kept saying that Fengshe was bragging. Snowby ignored her nonsense and walked directly to Fengshe. "It seems that you are indeed very knowledgeable about Dead Silence Forest. I'm afraid we won't be able to clear the level without teaming up with you." Fengshe confidently expressed himself. It's not too late to team up now. Snowby didn't waste any time. He turned around directly, signaling the two to leave the team and join Fengshe's team. Little Aurora nodded. Her eyes kept stealing glances at Fengshe, her face showing shyness. Fengshe looked a bit confused. And Luna Xiao stubbornly said, "I think he has intentions towards you. This person is a fraud." Snowby said, as she applied to join the team. "The truth will be revealed once we enter the dungeon." In a moment, 3 level 2 beauties joined Fengshe's team, just enough to meet the required number for the dungeon. The onlooker little gaggas were stunned. They never dreamed that a level 1 rookie could actually lead 3 beauties into the dungeon. Being able to enter the dungeon with his idol Kuriko made Fengshe extremely excited. Fengshe patted his shoulder, indicating that he should remember to perform well. Meanwhile, not far away, Lonely as Snow looked very happy and gave Fengshe a big thumbs up. Before long, Fengshe led the others and arrived at the entrance of the dungeon portal. Next, the system prompted to choose a difficulty level: normal, hard, or hell. Fengshe didn't hesitate at all. After selecting the difficulty level, he immediately entered the dungeon. Others also followed one after another and began to enter. Soon all entered the Dead Silence Forest dungeon. Dead Silence Forest is a dark forest. Thick black clouds press down from the sky. Occasionally, a cold wind blows, as if it were the end of the world. At that moment, a skull suddenly appeared with its mouth wide open. At the same time, a warning popped up on the system. Hell-level Dead Silence Forest drop rates increased by 30%. Punishment after death increased by 100%. Everyone was stunned. They thought they were just exploring a regular dungeon. Unexpectedly, Fengshe chose the Hell difficulty level. Kuriko feels completely bad. "Feng, why did you choose the Hell difficulty level?" Luna Xiao was instantly furious. "If you deceive us, just wait to be sent to Hell by me." And Fengshe smiled slightly. He patted Kuriko on the shoulder to signal him not to worry. Lonely as Snow looked at the dark forest and asked, "Brother expert, which way should we go?" Fengshe said lightly, "It's easy to get lost in Dead Silence Forest. Just follow me closely." He didn't hesitate at all and directly chose a path to walk on. Little Aurora asked with some concern if Snowby should follow. Snowby nodded. Since they were already here, might as well go along with him. Under the leadership of Fengshe, everyone slowly walked into the woods. The rest followed closely behind him, being cautious and vigilant of their surroundings. When Shadow Guide reached level 5, he once organized a large group of players to explore Dead Silence Forest in batches. After many hardships, they finally mapped out the area. This endeavor came at the cost of hundreds of players losing levels. The entire Dead Silence forest has 36 paths. However, only 3 of them lead to the first boss, Vermi. These 3 paths are determined by the fate of many players. Among them, 2 paths are very dangerous and lead to a dead end without sufficient strength. Only 1 path has few monsters. Fengshe chose the path with few monsters. It is quite peaceful and safe to walk on. Luna Xiao asked skeptically, "Do you think the route that newbie took us on is correct?" Snowbye nodded. "This route should be very safe. We didn't even encounter a single monster. We avoided them all perfectly." The place we just left. Those wandering monsters immediately arrived there. Darkblade is obviously very familiar with this dungeon. Luna Xiao expressed that it's just a few small monsters, and she is not willing to admit defeat. What is there to be afraid of? Fengshe turned around at the sound and explained, "These small monsters don't drop any loot. It's a waste of time to fight them." Luna Xiao couldn't help but secretly complain. "I see you're afraid that we'll find out. You are a noob with 0 DPS. After a while, the Fengshe team arrived at a wide open plain. Kuriko, with plenty of experience, smiled knowingly. This kind of place is almost guaranteed to have a boss. When he saw the empty plain, he couldn't help but feel a little strange. Where did the boss go? Just at that moment, the whole area suddenly experienced a violent shake. The crowd tensed up immediately. After all, this is a hell-level dungeon here. Any slight movement could be deadly. Fengshe has entered into battle mode. He calmly ordered, "Everyone, be prepared. The boss is about to appear." As soon as he finished speaking, a huge and ferocious night hare suddenly emerged from the ground. It then descended from the sky and landed steadily in front of everyone. Its information also emerged. Vermi Chieftain level 3 HP 6000. Vermi's double claws are as sharp as steel claws. If caught, basically it's instant death. In past lives, who knows how many players just died a miserable death under these sharp claws. Nighthare Vermi Chieftain level 3 HP 6000. Vermi is 3 times the height of a person. Its claws are as sharp as steel claws. Its eyes glint fiercely, and its mouth is full of teeth. This is obviously a carnivorous rabbit. Lonely as Snow was a little surprised. We haven't even fought a single monster. They just directly spawned the boss code right away. Fengshe nodded. Spawning small monsters is too time-consuming. The maximum benefit comes from directly fighting the boss. The timid little Aurora quickly hid behind Snowbye. And Snowbye also drew the long sword from her waist. Already prepared and ready. Fengshe did not rush to pull the boss. He commanded, "Lonely as Snow, this time the main tanking job is up to you. Make sure to hold the boss's aggro. Everyone else, remember to control the damage output and avoid pulling threat." Little Aurora looked puzzled by these professional terms. She curiously asked what MT and OT mean. Fengshe explained that the position of MT is usually taken care of by professions with high blood thickness and defense. It is mainly responsible for drawing aggro from the boss. The MT needs to attract the boss's aggro to create a stable and safe DPS environment for DPS professions. OT refers to aggro getting out of control. If someone suddenly bursts out with excessive DPS, their aggro will surpass that of the MT. Then the boss will switch its attack target. Fragile DPS professions usually will be instantly killed by the boss. Don't worry. I will tell you directly what needs to be done when the time comes. Just follow my commands. He had just finished speaking when Lonely as Snow suddenly activated the charge skill and rushed towards the boss. Fengshe instantly petrified on the spot. Do you want to go up only after Little Aurora gives you a buff? Are you in a rush to go die? Lonely as Snow quickly stopped in a hurry. But the charge skill simply cannot be stopped voluntarily. Vermi looked at the funny human flying towards him. He was also a bit confused instantly. Immediately, Vermi suddenly raised his steel claw high up. Impatiently, He swung the steel claw towards Lonely as Snow. Seeing the menacing steel claw, his face instantly darkened. This is going to be a disaster. Just at that moment, a dark magic circle suddenly appeared beneath Kuriko. His spell had just been completed. He used the control skill Evil Whipvine. Several thick thorns broke through the ground, instantly bound Verme's body, interrupted its attack, and also rendered it unable to move. Lonely as Snow, who narrowly escaped death, quickly turned around. Thanked Kuriko. Then he charged towards Verme again, prepared to fight with all his might. The next second, he suddenly used his head to strike Verme, instantly causing him to suffer 58 points of damage. However, Verme only lost 11 points of health. The power of both sides is completely disproportionate. He was directly hit, and sent flying back several meters. Luna Xiao complained unkindly. "Are your people human bullets?" This sarcastic remark left Fengshe speechless. At that moment, Little Aurora suddenly emitted a green light. She began to cast healing spells while moving around. Lonely as Snow's HP has been restored. He quickly thanked her. Soon, the duration of Evil Whipvine has ended. Verme struck a couple of times. Just smashed that pile of thorns into smithereens. Lonely as Snow stood up quickly, taking a deep breath and exhaling heavily. He quickly rushed towards Verme, continuously waving the long sword in his hand to draw aggro. Although his attacks hit Verme and didn't cause much damage, he managed to entangle Verme with his agile footwork. Lonely as Snow's level of skill is somewhat beyond Fengshe's expectations. Aggro is being controlled. He and Snowby also act quickly. Fengshe and Snowby alternate in attacking. Seizing the opportunity, they quickly move towards Verme, dealing a barrage of damage, while Lonely as Snow firmly stands in front of Verme, ensuring they can focus on dealing damage. At this moment, Luna Xiao's voice suddenly rang out. "Everyone move aside!" Her burst flame is ready to unleash. She then fiercely sprayed out the roaring flames from her hand. Lonely as Snow barely managed to dodge by leaping awkwardly. The incredibly hot burst flame exploded directly on Verme, causing an astonishing 118 points of damage. Fengshe was suddenly surprised by the sight, and Luna Xiao saw that 3-digit damage number. Immediately burst into laughter. "My DPS is truly invincible." The high damage. It made Verme aggro, with a fierce look in its eyes. Slowly turned to face Luna Xiao. Immediately Verme let out an angry roar. Damage and speed increased by 30%. The conjoined form has also grown slightly. Fengshe suddenly felt a sharp increase in pressure. "Luna Xiao, your burst flame's damage is also too high." Snowby suddenly turned around solemnly and said, "Now the boss's aggro should be completely drawn away." And Luna Xiao, the instigator, still looked confusedly at the two of them. Then Verme leaped high into the air. The terrifying steel claws swung fiercely towards her position. Scarlet Flame Sorceress Luna Xiao has a devilishly attractive figure and terrifying DPS capability. With just a casual burst flame, the boss was blasted with damage reaching into the hundreds. Directly one-shot by the high damage. Verme's terrifying steel claws swooped violently toward her position. Luna Xiao, who had reacted in time, muttered to herself, "Not good. It's bad that she exerted too much force just now. Now the boss is going to target me." In the blink of an eye, Verme's terrifying steel claw came flying towards them. Luna Xiao was already in a state of stupor. There was no time to dodge. At this critical moment, Fengshe hastily swung out the storm flash. 3 flashes of lightning suddenly burst out. The 3 flashes of lightning did not hinder, causing a lot of damage. Successfully disrupted its attack. Luna Xiao, who originally thought she was doomed, slowly opened her eyes. Somewhat incredulous, she actually survived. Fengshe's storm flash immediately pulled Verme's aggro over. He is no longer retained. Abyss Dweller, holding a torrent of demonic aura, shouted. Let me pull aggro, you guys focus on dodging attacks. Vermi, who was hurt by the attack. He turned around and pounced towards Fengshe. Snowbye quickly reminded Fengshe to be careful. While unexpectedly Fengshe's level is the lowest. At the same time, Vermi has arrived in front of Fengshe. The steel claw fell suddenly. Although he blocked this move with his sword, he was still knocked away. Fengshe spun in the air. He slid on the ground for several meters before coming to a stop. Steadied his posture. There was a loud bang, followed closely by another high leap from Vermi. He lunged towards Fengshe's position. Vermi, filled with immense anger, increased his attack speed rapidly. His palms began to swing wildly as he unleashed the death claw. As its skill activated, several terrifying blade waves quickly shot towards Fengshe. Fengshe did not choose to dodge in the face of such an intense, long-range attack. He kept swinging the Abyss Dweller in his hand to block. After ending the skill of Death Claw, Vermi landed heavily. Then it suddenly started spinning wildly. While spinning rapidly, there were several purple electric arcs oozing out. As Carnage Feast was activated, Vermi disappeared on the spot. It transformed into a terrifying vortex and quickly attacked Fengshe. In the blink of an eye, Vermi had already arrived in front of Fengshe. At this moment, he tried to dodge, but it was already too late. Fengshe hastily swung the Abyss Dweller in his hand. The sword fiercely struck down on the terrifying Carnage Feast. And Fengshe's sword did not manage to stop Vermi. In the blink of an eye, he had already acquired many small wounds. Suddenly, a beautiful figure flashed out from the side. Snowbye's full-force kick interrupted Vermi's skill. The powerful kick sent it flying for about 10 meters before coming to a stop. Vermi, who used a powerful move, appears somewhat weakened at this moment. Breathing heavily non-stop to adjust the condition. Little Aurora sees both sides distanced from each other. Quickly use healing magic to restore Fengshe's health. Fengshe quickly shouted, "The boss is now in a weakened state. Its defense power will be significantly reduced. Everyone, seize the opportunity to increase your DPS." He also turned around and reminded sternly, "Remember, this time we must not have any more OT." Luna Zhao's face immediately turned red. She was extremely furious inside. How dare this stinky man try to lecture me? Everyone didn't miss it. This is a great opportunity to kill Vermi. Various small skills kept hitting him. The boss was soon brought down to low health. Kuriko kept flicking out shadow arrows from his hands while shouting loudly, "The boss is about to die." Fengshe quickly used a chop attack to send Vermi flying. And Luna Zhao began to gather flames in her hands once again. She angrily unleashed Burst Flame to avenge her previous humiliation. Raging flames, continuously exploding on Vermi's body. Its last bit of HP is finally taken away. With a burst of golden light, the exploding Vermi dropped a floor full of equipment. Kuriko and Longlias Snow's eyes lit up with excitement instantly. There must be a lot of top-quality items in this pile of equipment. Fengshe took out a healing potion and ordered, "Don't worry about the equipment for now. Everyone, quickly restore your speed." Luna Zhao and Snowbye quickly took out a potion from the backpack. Started to drink it up with a gurgling sound. Fengshe then began to explain. "In the end, the boss will catch players off guard. Just follow my instructions. This boss is not difficult at all." Before long, everyone heard a roar that shook the entire dead silence forest. A figure holding a giant sword leaped out from the forest. The shadow is a huge werewolf. The werewolf looked at Fengshe and the others. Its dark eyes instantly turned blood red. Its information also appeared. Werewolf Feroth level 3 chieftain. HP 12,000 points. And the group, who had already restored all their statuses, showed no signs of panic. They looked coldly at the werewolf boss. This unusual scene left Feroth somewhat stupefied. This is completely opposite to what it imagined this situation would be. Feng Shi did not give the werewolf a chance to make the first move. With a command from him, everyone rushed towards the werewolf. This is a situation that is different from what was expected. Even the werewolf boss was slightly panicked. The battle continued for a while. Suddenly, a violent roar erupted in the entire area. As the smoke dispersed, Werewolf Feroth's HP has been depleted. The massive body slowly dissipated into thin air. A system prompt sounded at the same time. Werewolf Feroth has been slain. How powerful is a master with 10 years of gaming experience? When ordinary players are still struggling with normal level dungeon first done. He has already led the team to defeat the final boss of hell level difficulty, Werewolf Feroth. The loot dropped by Werewolf Feroth is quite rich. There are 2 skill books alone. One item caught Feng Shi's eye, the bloodthirsty blade. The bright red sword emits a faint red glow, with red liquid dripping slightly from the blade. The entire sword exudes a strong aura of slaughter. Looking at the full ground of equipment, even the proud Luna Xiao couldn't help but let out a sigh of amazement. Snowby then calmly said, "According to what we agreed upon earlier, the 3 of you have priority to choose." Feng Shi's heart blossomed with joy. Not only can I get the bloodthirsty blade, also successfully obtain the design for the guardsman's armor. Kuriko and Lonely Snow kept emitting crazy smiles. Fingers kept tapping on the equipment selection menu. Kuriko's smiling mouth can hardly close. The Mystic Iron set of dark-colored armor consists of 5 pieces. This time, the dropped items are the chest piece and the shoes. Lonely as Snow has acquired the skill Whirlwind Slash and a bronze-level steel greatsword. Luna Xiao looked at the 2 who switched from a bird gun to a cannon. She couldn't help but get impatient. She felt that all the good stuff had been taken by these 2 ordinary people. And little Aurora had no complaints about it. Thanks to Darkblade's command, we were able to easily pass through. It's only right to let them pick first. When Snowby looked at the list of items and saw the blueprint that was left, she was a little surprised. She then sincerely thanked Feng Shi. This strange move aroused Luna Xiao's curiosity, so she leaned over to take a look. In the list of items was a conspicuously displayed entry, a basic potion-making formula. It is a beginner-level power potion that can grant players a lasting boost of 6 points in strength for half an hour. The rare potion-making formulas in the world of magic are notoriously difficult to obtain. The formula that enhances players' strength by 6 points for half an hour. They have never seen it before. Luna Xiao was suddenly shocked. She said incredulously, "You actually left such a valuable formula to us." Feng Shi smiled slightly at these words. "You also put in a lot of effort in this dungeon. This is what you deserve." The extremely tsundere Luna Xiao's cheeks suddenly turned slightly red. Thinking about what she had said before. Just feeling so embarrassed. At the same time, outside the entrance to the Dead Silence Forest dungeon, members from various guilds are arguing incessantly. They all believe that the first done achievement must belong to their own guide. Just then, a successful challenge prompt suddenly appeared. Congratulations to Darkblade team for being the first team to conquer the Dead Silence Forest dungeon. Not long ago, the little Gaggas who used to look down on Darkblade are now suddenly silent and frozen in place. Soon, everyone slowly walked out from the teleportation gate. An outfit mixing bronze and mystic iron pieces. Little Gaggas that attracted attention glanced over one after another. Snowby suddenly spoke up. "Do you want to join our body-devouring serpent?" Feng Shi shook his head, indicating that he was used to being alone and had no intention of joining a guild. Snowby nodded. "I respect your choice. 3 days later, we will participate in the body-devouring serpent. Prepare for the first 20-person team of level 5 dungeon Dark Moon Graveyard. I don't know if you are interested in joining." Feng Shi was somewhat shocked. "You need to be level 5 to enter. Are you sure you can really form a team?" Snowby's beautiful eyes looked at Feng Shi with a confident smile. "For us, the the body-devouring serpent, nothing is impossible. According to Feng Shu's intelligence, the guild body-devouring serpent has conquered more than 10 virtual games. However, the appearance of the realm has caused a sensation in the virtual gaming world, being praised as the second world for humans. This led to the closure of many other virtual games. Subsequently, numerous large corporations went crazy and entered the realm to cultivate their guides and establish their power, aiming to establish their position in virtual finance. Naturally, body-devouring serpent also entered the realm, hoping to get a share from numerous financial giants. Moreover, body-devouring serpent not only has substantial financial resources, but also a strong background. Its gaming experts under its command exceed 1,000 in number. These 1,000 experts have a great reputation in the realm, known as the Army of God Slayers. It is because of the existence of these 1,000 skilled individuals that body-devouring serpent has established a significant virtual empire, ruling over more than 80 cities with populations of over 1 million in the realm, becoming the true overlord of the realm. With such powerful guides, they are sure to invest their strongest powers within the realm. Forming a team of 20 people within 3 days is not a mere fantasy. Afterwards, Snowby suggested, "Let's add each other as friends first. It will be convenient for us to get in touch later on." Feng Shu was not intimidated by this powerful guide. "If you let me choose first between the equipment and blueprint for swordman, can you save a spot for me?" Luna Xiao was immediately angered by these words, while Snowby simply smiled faintly and said it's not a problem. Kuriko couldn't help but explain that Feng is awesome, actually being able to become friends with the Snow Queen. Soon after, the 3 beautiful women left the team. The little Gaggas watching around immediately fixed their gaze on Feng Shu and others. The male players all showed looks of jealousy, wishing they could swallow Feng Shu and the others with their eyes. Kuriko and Lonely as Snow felt a sense of unease. They quickly asked Feng Shu for advice, and Feng Shu directly bolted. Running away is the best strategy when all other options have been exhausted. A large group of players are frantically chasing behind. Questions keep coming through about how to pass through the screams in the dungeon. Feng Shu led the 2 people to Shadowmoon Valley. Looking at the deserted dungeon entrance, Lonely as Snow felt somewhat strange. Feng Shu explained that currently, no players have challenged the level 4 dungeon yet. Most players are still at level 2. At this moment, a rough voice sounded not far away saying, "Brother, please invite me to your party." Feng Shu's heart skipped a beat. Protection Paladin Koch's tall stature and well-developed muscles seemed somewhat familiar to him. He suddenly widened his eyes, breaking out in a cold sweat. Indeed, there was such a person in his memory. The name of the Tyrant Bear in the previous life was Koch Tyrant Bear, the main MT of the top guild Radiant Stars. I never expected Tyrant Bear to come over by himself. He is still so shy. Completely different from the Tyrant Bear 10 years later. During the early days in the realm, Tyrant Bear had a difficult time. He was even driven away by the third-rate guild Heaven Throne. Later, after joining Radiant Stars, Tyrant Bear began to shine brightly. Transitioning from a regular team's main tank to the main tank of the core group, he ranked 15th in the Protection Paladin class in the Starmoon Kingdom. He is well known for his ability to tank and deal damage, hence earning the title Tyrant Bear. Tyrant Bear is the main tank of Radiant Stars. The Protection Paladin of Starmoon Kingdom is ranked 15th in the profession, renowned for its ability to resist and deal damage. Looking at the shy personality of Koch, Feng Shu suddenly had an idea. Tyrant Bear has not joined any guides yet. If they could be recruited as RMT, wouldn't it make dungeon runs much easier in the future? Koch chuckles and happily explains that they have been grinding monsters all the way to get here. They want to team up, but haven't seen anyone else around. Kuriko is a bit doubtful about his hearing ability. He can actually pull monsters by himself. You should know that a Protection Paladin's attack is very low. Killing monsters is not easy. Generally, it is done in a team. Otherwise, leveling up is very slow. Coke patted his damaged armor and chuckled. I am very tanky. It's all about enduring. Kuriko suddenly felt a bit tongue-tied. You are really tough. How much beating have you taken? Lonely as Snow couldn't help but admire Coke's tenacious survival ability. He quickly turned around and suggested to Feng Shi. This meat shield is too powerful. Taking it to the next dungeon is definitely a safe choice. Later, Feng Shi straightforwardly invited Coke to join the team. See Coke join the group. Lonely as Snow immediately raised his arms and cheered loudly. Finally, I can get rid of the position of being a meat shield. Coke suddenly chuckled and asked, we should still be missing a healing position in our team, right? It just so happens that I have a friend who is a healer. But he is an oracle. Lonely as Snow couldn't help but furrow his brows slightly. Among healing professions, Oracle has the worst healing abilities. Generally, teams wouldn't bring an Oracle into dungeons. Feng Shi spoke up, saying, indeed, Oracle does have the weakest healing capabilities. However, Oracle has high health points, making it less likely to be killed in one hit. Moreover, they start with 2 skills, Life Prayer and Life Payment. The latter allows the caster to convert damage taken into healing done and transfer it to others. For inexperienced healers with limited skills and equipment in the early stages, Oracle actually has quite an advantage in dungeons compared to other healing classes. Upon seeing Feng Shi's detailed analysis, Coke immediately admired him with starry eyes. Feng Shi wasted no time and directly included Oracle Drowsy Sloth in the team. Level 2 Drowsy Sloth sincerely thanked Feng Shi, simply because no one was willing to take him in. He awkwardly expressed that he had been kicked out by many teams in the past. Almost wanted to delete the account. Feng Shi said seriously. The realm has no trash professions. Only players who are rubbish. Team assembled. Reached the required number of people to enter the dungeon. Feng Shi didn't waste any time and led the team into the dungeon. Inside the dungeon, the hills are filled with level 3 monsters goblins. There are at least hundreds of goblins on the wide mountainous terrain. Coke is very brave. He directly uses Shield Strike while wielding a huge shield, knocking the group of goblins over, causing them to be thrown into disarray. Immediately, he quickly raises his shield, activates the taunt skill, and starts pulling the mobs. This skill can increase the aggro of monsters within a 10-yard radius by 100%. It is the main skill used by the main tank to pull aggro. Aggro is pulled. Lonely as Snow quickly pulls out the big gun and starts spinning frantically. With the activation of Whirlwind Slash, a sharp sword aura carries the sound of breaking through the air, swept away all the goblins in front of him. At the same time, Kuriko's AoE magic, the chanting of the Hellfire refining skill, is also complete. A beam of extremely hot flame soared into the sky, devouring the entire goblin army. The momentum of this skill is immense, causing the earth to tremble slightly. The goblins being roasted by the flames immediately let out a burst of screams. In 5 seconds, it was just enough for all of them to receive over 200 damage. Their HP was reduced to less than half. At the moment when the goblins were shifting their attack targets, Feng Shi directly drew out Abyss Dweller and unleashed Storm Flash. 3 bolts of lightning pierced through the goblin army. The intensified damage effect combined with the slashing skill. The last bit of HP of the goblins was also taken away by Feng Shi. Under the relentless bombardment of Kuriko and Feng Shi, the goblins immediately scattered in panic and began to flee. After all the goblins were wiped out, a large amount of ore exploded and scattered all over the ground, and everyone's XP increased crazily. However, at this moment, Coke and Drowsy Sloth suddenly discovered a big guy appeared not far away. The things hadn't had a chance to start picking up yet. A goblin driving a giant robot suddenly popped out. Drowsy Sloth couldn't help but exclaim, "How could a boss suddenly appear?" At the same time, a warning popped up in the system. This is a sudden raid event. Risky Goblin Special Elite Level 5. HP 1600. Passive skill 95% damage reduction. After clearing out the roaming goblins, there is a very small chance it will appear. Its appearance is a nightmare for players. Feng Shi's face suddenly changed color at the sight of that, and cold sweat streamed down. But Kuriko tactlessly asked Feng Shi if there was a strategy to defeat the boss. Feng Shi naturally would not stay behind. He shouted out loud without hesitation. Everyone scattered and started to flee for their lives. After hearing Feng Shi's reminder, everyone not only stopped picking up drops, but also dashed directly towards the entrance of the dungeon without any hesitation. Feng Shi knows full well that the risky goblin in front of them is a very dangerous monster, even stronger than the boss of the hell-level Dead Silence Forest. In the previous life, he led a main team to collectively mine. When they saw the risky goblin appear, the main team was still excited. They didn't expect to encounter a rare special elite. They all rushed over excitedly. Don't underestimate the risky goblin with only 1,600 HP. Its defense is extraordinary. It has damage reduction up to 95%. And the attack of the risky goblin is also fierce. A burst of bullets. Everyone gets sent back to town for free. As a result, the main force of the 20-person raid team suffered a tragedy. They were directly wiped out. Everyone lost levels. Seeing the Feng Shi squad trying their best to escape, Risky Goblin was deeply disgusted by their actions. It will definitely not let this group of humans off easily. It controls steel machines, heading towards the Feng Shi squad's position, activating the crazy barrage mode. The bullets keep firing continuously as if they were free, feeling the terrifying pressure coming from behind. Completely dare not look back. The speed under the feet immediately increased a bit. Watching the risky and arrogant sweep of gunfire behind, Kuriko was instantly irritated. Attack with the already charged shadow arrow. Although it hit the risky goblin. However, it only caused 1 point of damage. Kuriko's small eyes widened when he saw this damage. He was speechless for a moment, saying, "This is really disgusting. If this goblin weren't wearing armor, I could have defeated it in seconds." Feng Shi didn't expect Kuriko to be able to hit the target while running. However, it's foolish to confront risky goblin head-on. He quickly signaled Kuriko to conserve mana and to use control skills. Kuriko understood Feng Shi's intention. He dodged the bullets and quickly started chanting Evil Whipvine. Just caught up risky goblin. Suddenly entangled tightly by 5 thorns. Speed greatly reduced. Just as risky goblin was tripped, everyone hurried to quicken their pace and create distance. When risky goblin broke free from the 5 thorns, suddenly 5 high damage points exceeding 40 appeared on the head. Feng Shi was somewhat surprised. He did not expect Evil Whipvine to cause such exaggerated damage. He saw the hope of killing. It turns out that risky goblin is not immune to plant-type attacks. He immediately commanded, "Everyone stop. Go attract risky goblin's aggro, facing away from the crowd. Others attack and pay attention to positioning. As soon as risky goblin raises its gun, dodge immediately. Kuriko, attack Evil Whipvine when its cooldown is ready. We have a chance to take it down." Facing risky goblin with damage reduction as high as 95%. Feng Shi unexpectedly chose to stop and face the enemy. Just because he unexpectedly discovered plant-based skills can actually cause massive damage to it. At this time, risky goblin's aggro target is Kuriko. Lonely as Snow quickly turned around to follow Feng Shi's command. He picked up his weapon. He used the charge skill fiercely and rushed towards risky goblin. Immediately after, Yi's hand executed a stunning whirlwind slash. The moves were as fierce as a tiger, but all of them had a damage value of 1 point. Although the damage caused is low, but it did stun the risky goblin briefly. Meanwhile, Kuriko's skill has also cooled down. Evil Whipvine strikes again. The just recovered risky goblin is once again firmly controlled. The risky goblin, who has lost half of its health, once again targets Kuriko. It charges directly towards him. At that moment, Coke suddenly leaped up and pounced towards the location of the risky goblin. He then aimed at the robot's head and delivered a powerful holy strike. Two seemingly inconsequential damage numbers popped up instantly. Holy strike is based on the power of holiness. Striking with force, attacking enemies in front, causing 130% physical damage. At the same time, it generates additional aggro on the target. The additional aggro caused by Holy Strike firmly attracted the risky goblin. He angrily extended the right arm's mechanical chainsaw and swiftly chopped towards Coke. Coke quickly blocked with a shield, retreating 3 steps before stopping the attack. However, this one strike directly took away 2/3 of his HP. Instantly increased the pressure on him. With a delay from Coke, Kuriko, who had a chance to catch his breath, once again unleashed Evil Whipvine. Control over time is fleeting. The wounded risky goblin swung the chainsaw in his hand again. Coke quickly ran away and turned to dodge, shouting for healing. Drowsy Sloth desperately used healing spells on Coke, but only managed to restore nearly 100 HP. It's clear that the situation is a bit desperate. Just at that moment, Feng Shi swiftly arrived. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind the risky goblin, initiating the next round of aggro. Just as Coke was about to be finished off, Feng Shi used Abyss Bind. 9 pitch-black chains instantly trapped risky goblin, allowing Coke to catch its breath. Feng Shi immediately raised his hand and unleashed the Storm Flash. Then he quickly stepped to the side and delivered a slashing attack. This gorgeous combo unexpectedly caused around 10 points of damage, which is quite high for the others. 3 seconds of control time end. Risky Goblin immediately regains freedom. A mocking smile appears on the face of the green-skinned goblin. Facing the charge from Risky Goblin, Feng Shi quickly used gravity release to create distance. Next, Risky Goblin quickly raised his left arm with a flamethrower aimed at Feng Shi. Start a crazy barrage of fire. But hitting Feng Shi with gravity release activated is not that easy. After putting some distance, he turns around and throws out 3 flashes of lightning with a wave of his hand. The target of the Storm Flash, however, is the rock wall above Risky Goblin's head. This slick move also caught Risky Goblin off guard. Immediately, the rubble on the rock wall crashed to the ground. Risky Goblin was unexpectedly killed, losing hundreds of HP. The overturned steel robot on the ground keeps sizzling loudly. HP has also dropped to less than 10%. However, just at this moment, the mechanical door of the steel robot suddenly slammed open. At this time, Risky Goblin had already put on the rocket shoes, prepared to start fleeing for his life. Then he pressed a button on his waist. The rocket boots spewed out a large amount of azure flames. In an instant, he flew halfway into the air at an extremely fast speed. Feng Shi quickly uses Abyss Dweller's power. He doesn't want to let the duck that is about to reach his mouth fly away just like that. He decisively used the 9-headed dragon strike. Such a clever goblin is rare. The main god system will not casually grant a small monster such high intelligence. Bestowing high intelligence often has deep meaning. Killing it may bring unexpected rewards. He quickly wielded the Abyss Dweller entwined with black mist in his hand. Suddenly, 9 black mists shot out and raced away. The risky goblin, suspended in midair, was unexpectedly struck by 9 Abyss Dwellers. However, the risky goblin was not instantly killed. Its speed increased once again. Quickly move away from the attack range of Abyss Dweller. With a swoosh, Risky Goblin disappeared into the air. It was no longer visible. The system also prompted that Aki's Metal had escaped. Feng Shi saw this name. At first, it sounded familiar. Then, suddenly, he recalled things about it. Aki's Metal is a famous engineering grandmaster in the realm. 3 years later, Aki's Metal created the Sky Fortress Twin Serpent's Ring, shaking the nations and establishing the Goblin Empire, thus opening up the realm. The famous DLC Rise of the New World at that time saw countless super guides defeated in the campaign against the Sky Fortress Twin Serpent's Ring, with all forces being wiped out. And the one behind it all was Aki's Madel. When such a prominent figure appeared before him, he was completely unaware and almost took down a future version boss prematurely. On the side, Drowsy Sloth searched through the robot for a moment before saying, "Captain, there is a box here." Fengsher took the box and opened it immediately.